Welcome to Fear Babes Podcast, a paranormal podcast founded and hosted by Fear fan members.
All thoughts and opinions are strictly our own, and we are not affiliated with any shows in any way.
My name is Burgundy.
My name is Madeline.
And we are
the Fear Babes.
Welcome back to Fear Babes. It has been officially, by the time we post this, we will have hit our 1 year anniversary, and it is officially our season 4.
Holy shit.
Can you believe it?
Holy
shit.
That's the first thing I thought to say. Holy shit. I don't know. I don't know.
Sleep deprived, bro. Sleep deprived.
I think it's that I've been catching up on sleep and everything, but apparently, still am not getting enough oxygen to my brain, perhaps. So,
that doesn't make any sense because you left Wyoming, so you should have more now than you did when you were here.
You know what? I can tell a difference. It's so weird.
Can you?
I'm acting more normal and I'm more chatty. The whole time I was in Wyoming, it was like there was nothing happening.
You're blaming it on the lack of oxygen.
A part of me wonders. Part of me fucking wonders, dude. Remember the first day I was there and I was so quiet. I was kayaking and shit. And then, you told your mom that I wasn't saying much and you're like, yeah, I think it's because she's in. And your mom's like, no, I think it's because she's in higher elevation.
Did she really say that?
I'm pretty sure she did.
Stop paying attention.
And I was like, oh my God. But see, I had to say it out loud because there was no thoughts. I have an inner dialogue. It's actually really funny because I have an inner dialogue, right? And I know some people don't. But dude, there was no thoughts. No thoughts the entire fucking time.
First of all, I don't understand people not having an inner dialogue because I have an inner dialogue and I also probably have more than one narrator for my own life in my head. So
same.
Different voices for different things. So I just enjoy the fact that you're I didn't say words because lack of oxygen to my brain.
I genuinely think that's why.
That's funny.
Because the whole time, I was out there. And I eventually, adapted to it. And it's not like I got sick or anything, thank God. But I do think that, my brain was just not getting enough oxygen.
just enough oxygen stopped so you no longer had an inner monologue.
Exactly. What the fuck? It was
it's
so
95% is when you have an inner monologue, so you were getting solidly 92%, so you weren't making it quite that far.
Yeah, I really genuinely think that was the case. And guys, I'm not even fucking joking. I really think something was going on. But I felt fine. I don't know. I don't know if it was just the lack of oxygen or if it was just the fact that I needed a vacation away from my life or what, but I
was gonna say I was just under the assumption that you just you finally had a moment to just not have to think about anything.
And you know what's funny?
You were just I'm just gonna enjoy this.
No, literally. And you know what's funny too is that I think that was the first time you've genuinely heard my real accent.
You did not hide it at all this time. I was this, especially when you're talking to Sierra, I was like, what are you saying? Are these words?
Literally, I kind of want one of these days for Sierra to be a guest on the podcast.
Please. Oh my God.
Because I think it would be so funny. Because you and Sheena, when I was talking to Sierra, y'all were just looking at me so dumbfounded. And I was like, what? And you were like, I don't understand anything that y'all are saying right now.
There was a couple words. I was just I was following along with the conversation. And then there would be three words in a row where I was like, wait, I'm lost now. What's going on here?
I looked, or I obviously was FaceTiming her, but I looked at Sierra and I was like, do I sound different to you? Or
she's like, no.
What?
And I was like,
She's like, no, you sound normal. And I was like, well, that's what I was thinking, dude. That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's the thing is the first night when we were Saturday night, before we left to Yellowstone and stuff, after dinner, and you FaceTimed her, and she had done her Summerfest for the day. And you're like, girl, what you doing? What you doing? Girl, what you doing? I was like, what is going on?
That was
because she muted you. And
yeah.
making faces, and you're like, what you doing? I was like,
oh yeah, because she was pooping.
I was gonna say it. I was gonna put her on blast like that, but yes.
No, Sierra would totally she doesn't care. But like, yeah, I mean, I just felt like zen, I guess, and so
at least kayaking, you were very much like, because I kept checking on you. I was like, are you okay?
You would kayak for like it took me a minute to get used to kayaking because I have never done it before. I know it's a little bit crazy, but now I love kayaking and I totally want to do it again.
Bro, we went today.
Yeah, Bergie and her mom went today. I'm kind of jealous. But when I was kayaking, it took me a minute to get the hang of it and like the direction that I should be paddling.
the pushing of the water with the paddles, because I had to come back for you.
Yeah,
and so move.
And I was like, how do I move? Like, it was just so stupid. But once I got the hang of it, I eventually got to where I was in the front somehow, and I was just chilling, man.
Well, it was funny because you were doing it almost correct. You just weren't pushing the paddles. Like, you were putting them in properly, but you just weren't pulling the water the way you were supposed to.
Like a fucking dumbass.
No, you've never done it before. How would you know? So you're just like left, right, like just up and down. And I was like, no, Matt, you gotta. But I was too far away, so I had to turn around and paddle upstream.
It was so funny.
Like, Matt, I'm coming.
But it was so fun too. Like I don't know of anybody who would kayak with me here, but somebody's gonna have to. It's gonna have to be give or take. Like somebody's gonna have to
FaceTime kayak.
I know. I'm thinking about it, but there's a location that I found that I think you can rent kayaks, so I think I might end up doing that. Maybe. But the only difference is it's hot as fuck here. So I will say that is another thing that I noticed in Wyoming, which I know that I feel like I'm kind of jumping the gun. So maybe I should just pause for a second.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
I guess what I should do is talk about our plans for the season before we get into the nitty gritty of the Wyoming trip.
Okay, right? That's what we'll do. Yeah, I mean, we can do it however we want to structure it. This first episode for season 4 isn't going to be much paranormal. It's just going to be like us catching up, talking about our trip, giving you a little insight as to what to expect from us in this season and some other things coming from Fear Babes. So, I mean, yeah, we could talk about all the Fear Babe stuff first and then recap the trip and then call it a day.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Sick.
So basically, season 4 is going to be a big season for us, and I'm so fucking excited, dude.
I am like shooketh actually about what we have in store. Like,
me too.
Just for ourselves, even. I was like, we're doing this, and then we're like, oh shit, we're doing this.
Yeah, it got overwhelming in the best way. Yeah, it got overwhelming in the best way really fast. But like
you guys, keep going back with your thought first. You first.
Well, I mean, you know, me and Bergie, we're kind of on the same wavelength with a lot of things. So, like, we're kind of eager to do things once we have the idea, and we're both like, yes. It's kind of like in Step Brothers, where they both just like once they finally like mesh and they're just like on, you know, the same wavelength, everything that they have to do is just like over the top, exciting, whatever, like do it right now or nothing, like boats and hoes, like come on man, that's us. Like we have to just see it through like immediately. Like we're jump starters, right?
And it's like you get an idea and you're like, I have to do this right now
this
second.
And we didn't really think about the repercussions of that. Not in a bad way. I'm not saying this in a bad way. I'm just saying we didn't really think it all the way through because it's summertime. And during the summer, a lot is going on, you know, for Bergie and for myself. I'm going on a trip this weekend that you guys are hearing this season 4 premiere episode, I will be getting back from a trip. So, like, it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay. And then I have another trip coming up. And then I'm also potentially planning another trip that, that's another thing. But regardless, we didn't think about it all the way through. And so we made a post and we're like, hey guys, like, we want to talk to paranormal investigators. Like, we want to talk to anybody, everybody, like, comment, whoever. And next thing we know, like, our social media just started blowing up. So our DMs started blowing up. Everything started blowing up. Like, it was crazy in the best way. And we're so grateful. So now we're booked until September almost every weekend.
Sometimes twice a weekend.
Sometimes we've doubled up because of said trips for both of us. And
that is okay, first of all, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, you guys, you don't understand, is like, all of a sudden I was like, I have to use a calendar or I'm not gonna keep track of any of this shit. Like, and I had to make one and write it all down. Because I was like, this is a lot. This is happening really quick. And I don't know what I was expecting when we made that post. Like, it was overwhelmingly so good, but I don't know what I thought was gonna happen. Because obviously that's kind of what should happen, right? You would think, but I don't know. It wasn't that. I'm so excited and grateful for what happened and like what's to come for our season 4. But at the same time, I was like, wow. It was just like really kind of almost eye-opening in a sense, as far as, we're coming up on our 1-year anniversary of this podcast and like where we started and how far we've come just in a year and whatnot.
Yeah.
At least for me personally.
No, 100%. Like, I don't think I could have said it any better. It's just one of those things where I just have to, be like, whoa. And, we were both getting a little bit overwhelmed, but again, it was in the best way, because it's like, we weren't expecting that.
Yeah.
Because we still, in our minds, were just like, maybe one person.
We're nobody wants to talk to us.
Yeah, maybe one person might. Maybe. And then all of a sudden, it was not just one person. We're booked out so far.
I was literally planning, like, thinking in my head what we could talk about on, like, days we didn't have guests, because I really only thought we were going to end up with, like, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I knew of 2 of them already, because we had started the conversation prior to being like, what if we just turned season 4 into like paranormal investigators season? So I thought we would only end up with like 2 more.
Yeah, same.
Well, like, we have a few that we haven't even reached out to yet, because we were still trying to juggle like the
Dates.
Conversations we did start with. So
yeah. And I will say, like, obviously the paranormal investigator season, Project Fear is still going to be talked about. It's still going to be a thing. When
it's able to.
Yeah, when we can. That is still,
Question marks.
Yeah, we don't really know. Like,
It's question marks. Keep going.
But it's just, yeah. So that's the main thing, is that we are still going to talk about Project Fear. Project Fear is still a part of this podcast. They are, a big part of it, and always will be.
Yeah, Project Fear essentially is what made us. Project Fear is our first stepping stone. Project Fear is the reason we are friends in the first place. So Project Fear will always be a key component to this podcast. That's never going away.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah. So the thing is, we just don't know. They have this mini-series starting this Friday, so we will be reviewing those episodes as we always do. I just don't know, like, we don't know how many episodes they're releasing, and we don't quite know if their formatting is the same, because they've said it's a mini road trip, or if it's different. So, like Mads is telling y'all, we will be reviewing those episodes. I just don't know. As we get more information from Project Fear, then we will have a better idea of how those episodes for Fear Babes will go. And then that's why, as we were just saying, we're doubling up on some weekends with recordings. So it might be Project Fear will come before some guests we have in the backlog, but we will release people in the order that we talk to them.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So now that we're back on track, because it just like spazzed out for whatever reason. Oh, I forgot to tell you, like, side tangent real quick, but it wouldn't be a Fear Babes episode if we didn't have side tangents. So anyways, before when I sent you the code and then you were like loading it up and waiting to pop in, there was like weird interference on my microphone.
Ew.
Yeah, I was like sitting here just quiet. I was being you, kayaking basically, and my thoughts in my brain, and it was doing like in my headphones. It's like
strange.
But you know how the sound waves move like when one of us talks?
Yeah.
It was moving sound waves with that noise.
Ew.
Yeah. It was super weird.
I don't like that.
Me either.
And you're at mom's, right?
Yeah.
Strange.
It was very strange.
Ew. That's interesting, though.
I was like, what's happening? So I unplugged the headphones, plugged them back in. It was still doing it. And then I moved the mic like an inch to the left and it stopped.
Whoa.
Yeah, but now it's doing it again. Can you hear anything?
No, I can't.
It's doing it. If I sit back far enough, it does it again.
Spooky.
Yeah, it's wild. Anyways, so where were we?
So we talked about what's coming for this season. I think we hit everything, right?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Just Project Fear and our lineup of paranormal investigators.
Hell yeah. So pretty much in a nutshell, it's going to be a very fun season. And we can't wait to bring it to you.
Yeah, I'm excited for all the different personalities we get to talk to.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, dude. It's going to be fun.
Some old friends, some new friends, some people we haven't really interacted much with. So I think it'll be a nice mixture of personalities.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good fucking time, bitches.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah,
so now should we get into the nitty gritty of our trap?
Well, first of all, real quick touch base. Also, if you haven't seen, today is the 15th of June when we're recording this. So we have officially hit both of our Twitter and Instagram follower goals. So we are officially doing our giveaway. By the time this is released, our giveaway will have been announced. So that's exciting. Finally! Yeah. I wish we had one like a sound bar.
Maybe we should look into that.
I know.
That'd be so funny.
I wonder how expensive they are.
Probably a lot.
And as Mads knows, I am at Mom's house, currently sitting in the craft room because I'm working on some crafts. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink. And I'm just going to tell you what I have seen thus far. Design-wise is really funny.
Especially the one with the little doodle underneath the words. Oh. The Duchess.
Damn it. Son of a bitch. Okay. Sorry about that.
It's fine. What a bunch of heckin' nids. Okay.
I know.
Yeah, so working on some crafts. Stay tuned for that. Also, I don't know how everybody feels about car decals, but we'll have to see what happens there too. Anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, now I think we can recap the trip.
Hell yeah, dude.
I think that's all we needed to shoot out there into the universe.
Yeah. So last time we talked, our last episode, we were in Wyoming.
Also was glitchy as fuck.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
Whoop the daisies. So here's what happens. So we use this software called Ringer because Madeline lives in North Carolina and I live in Wyoming. Clearly we can't sit in a room and chat with each other, right? So we had to do long distance recording. And of course we don't do video. at this time, may be a thing in the future, may not, still figuring that one out. So we did a lot of research into long distance podcasting, and Ringer was suggested, and we've used Ringer since day one. And normally it works pretty well for us. Season 1, we had a couple of issues here and there, but it smoothed out a lot.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know if it's just because we got better at what we do, or who knows. Anyways, so the problem is when we record, when we are in the same room, because we've done it twice now. We did it when we were sitting in Jersey, and then we did the Wyoming trip. That was the first day y'all were here, right? Saturday night? Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we do is we ghetto rig it up, so to speak, and we hop on Ringer as we always do, and I send Mads the code to her email, like we always do, and she gets Ringer up on her phone, and then she joins the call and turns her volume all the way down and mutes herself so that we won't hear any interference. Because if you don't do that, it's a hell of an echo. And that's what happened in the first couple minutes of that last episode. Was we had to start it over for some reason. I don't remember why, but because you had it muted, and then we had to start it over, and then it was like a few minutes in, and you're like, oh shit, I have to mute it. And so you muted it, so it was like echoey for a minute, but it smoothed out on its own without us muting it, because we didn't mute it for like a hot minute.
Yeah.
And it was only echoey for like a minute or so. However, I don't know why. I don't know if it's when your phone goes into sleep mode, like when the screen goes black, what happens, but the audio kept cutting after that.
Yeah, it got a little glitchy, and I don't know if it was because like we were all laughing so loud too. Because I also noticed like a lot of the cuts were when we were laughing really hard, and it
Ringer
was like
does do that. Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god. And we made the rookie mistake of not listening to the audio until literally, when was it? Thursday, when we were in Cody.
We're back to civilization.
And we were like, what the fuck? This is fucked. And
why didn't anybody tell me? First of all, listeners, I'm just kidding. It's not your responsibility. No. However, there are a few of you that do tell me lots of things about our podcast. So I'm like, hello? You couldn't have mentioned that it was broken?
It wasn't that bad, and I think that maybe people were just like, whatever. Maybe it's just me.
Right.
So
that's what we thought at first. We're like, is it just Spotify? Is it our service right now? And then we checked like YouTube and Apple, and we're like, oh, nope, it's the audio. Fun. How fun for us.
Love that for us.
You know what, though? Ringer does do that. You're probably right when you said it's us laughing, because there are times, like, we warn people when we start talking to guests, is like, if we all talk at the same time, it like cuts.
Yeah.
Or like, sometimes you'll hear the dogs start barking in the background, but then it cuts it out.
Yeah.
So I think that might probably be it, actually, Mads. Good thought.
Yeah. So basically, in a nutshell, we apologize for that. As soon as we heard it, I went and made like a post, and I was just like, sorry, but it is what it is. It's almost been a week since it's been up. So
yeah, I guess most of you have heard it at this point. So
yeah,
gonna leave that there.
It was what it was. But aside from that, that was the last you had heard from us. So we haven't really gotten into much to the rest of the trip, which I'm sure quite a few of you are like, can you just get into it already? Which honestly,
like, stop dragging it out. Like, what the fuck?
Like, honestly, same. So basically, Bergie had a pretty full itinerary for us the day we got there. From the second we stepped off the plane, Bergie picked us up, took us to this place called Soda Springs, which we talked about. We went to the Jeffree Star store, a coffee shop,
Metro
Taco John's,
Metro
coffee shop, Taco John's. That was good. And then after we talked to you guys, we recorded our episode. We immediately left again, and we went up to the top of Bergie's Mountain in Casper, and we were trying to go to Crimson Dawn, but apparently it is closed.
Until today.
Until today, apparently.
Actually.
So that's just how the luck went.
So real quick, just for anybody who doesn't know what Crimson Dawn is, it's a spot on Casper Mountain. It just says, here lies intrinsic trails guiding the visitors on a tour of shrines dedicated to the enchanted witches and other characters from the pages of Neil's book, Crimson Dawn. But yeah, I just thought, because we're spooky bitches, it would be fun to go up there, but the park said no. You shall not pass. So never mind.
Yeah, so we didn't get to see that, which, it's whatever. It was depressing at the time, but then, we saw a lot of other cool stuff, so it kind of just overrid that.
We went to the waterfall.
Yeah. We went to the waterfall.
Why do you say it like that?
Because it just...
yeah.
I have PTSD, bro. Like, okay, so...
From all waterfalls? Well, the Casper Mountain one wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't. But it was just like... Obviously, for those of you who don't know, there's this thing, like what we were talking about, like, the elevation thing. I am very close to the sea, so I'm not that high above sea level. Okay? I'm literally, like, my town, we looked it up before, like, I left. I'm 501 feet above sea level. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Bergie.
Bergie is, would you like to tell them how many feet above sea level you are?
Yeah, isn't it 5,400-ish? I'm trying to...
Yeah, something like that. I thought it was like
Hello?
56.
I'm also gonna look it up again because I don't ever remember. Casper, Wyoming elevation. Oh no, 51.
Oh.
Wait, no, yeah, 51. I'm stupid. I should know that. 5150. There's a bunch, so 5,150 feet in the air. There's a bunch of local businesses around here that use like 5150. Like there used to be a 5150 bar or tap room.
Makes
I'm
sense.
like, duh, I should have known that.
Makes
Anyways.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So obviously the mountain's a little bit taller than that, not by
500 feet in the air.
Yeah, and
the mountain is close to 8,000 something.
Okay, so yeah, we were. So anyway, long story short, I was struggling because when you get so above like you're thousands of feet in the air and you're not used to it, your body does this thing where you need more oxygen. So it was like a constant, it was already kind of a fight. Like I think right before, I wasn't really feeling it that much at that point. But as soon as we started walking up the little hill to get to the waterfall,
you're like, oh, I feel it now.
Dude, literally my lungs were burning because I was struggling to catch my breath. And it's not because I'm fat. Okay. it's because
you're not fat, first of all.
Well, I also don't think I'm that out of shape either. So it kind of like hurt my ego a little bit. I was like, damn it. I was like, fuck. Like I usually walk pretty fast and all this shit. This trip was not happening. I'm the one nobody can keep up with. Like with my people at home. And this time I was like, oh God, I need you to slow down. Damn. And like literally when I was at the waterfall, like my lungs were burning so bad. Like I looked at Bergie and I was like, I can't breathe. And she was just like, dude, fucking like, what the fuck? I'm just kidding. You were not like that at all. But you and Sheena...
Bro, it's the elevation. I swear you're fine.
Yeah, and I was
like not like you're fine, but I was like, don't feel bad about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I had that first day was kind of rough, but after that, I didn't have too many issues. It was just more of like the hiking and not being able to catch my breath. But it was never that lung burning feeling again.
Yeah, but that was literally day one of you guys being here. Like, you haven't even been here a full 24 hours yet, so your body's like, what the fuck we doing?
Yeah, my body was like, oh, girl, Miss Girl, you need some oxygen. And then after that, a part of me wonders if, like, sucking in all that oxygen, like, depleted, like, some brain wires or something. Because, like, there was nothing that happened after that. Like, I don't remember having a single internal thought the entire time. Like, after that. Until I literally got to Denver, and then I started thinking in my head, and I was like, oh my God. Like, even though I was still like 5,000 or 4,000 something feet and, like, above sea level.
That's weird because Denver is slightly higher than us.
Which is stupid. Like, I don't understand. I don't even know. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but definitely, like, I don't know. But it was a little bit rough. And then we went back to Bergie's house, and we ended up going out to a couple bars, and it was fun.
Oh yeah, I was
Super
like, just
fun.
backwards, and I was like, no, we went to the office too.
We did, and I was so tired. Me and Sheena had been up since.
Oh yeah, you were dead. You guys were dead of the world before that. It was literally right after the mountain. You guys were dead. We were just like tired and vibing, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we went to Backwards. Backwards is a tasting room here. So Backwards Distillery is a vodka distillery that is local to Casper, Wyoming, and they have a tasting room with some schmancy fancy drinks. I took them to Backwards because originally we were gonna go to the Beacon, which is the cowboy bar, but I personally fucking hate the Beacon. I don't want to go there. So
no worries. We were not missing much, and we had our.
We redeemed that specific situation, which we will get to in a bit. But yeah, I really hate the Beacon, so I didn't want to go there. I was like, please, for the love of God, do not make me take you to the Beacon. Like, I will if you want to, because it's your trip, not mine. I fucking live here, but I really, really rather would not go to the fucking Beacon. So we went to Backwards, which was way better in my opinion, and I feel like we had a good time there. Yeah.
Yeah.
The vibes were immaculate. It's a cool, niche-y type place. Like, the interior, it almost gives kind of like Gatsby vibes in my opinion, because I really want to have a Gatsby party there. I think it'd be super fun.
You should.
Yeah. But yeah, our drinks were awesome.
Yeah, they were really good. And based off of what I have experienced personally, like pricing of like drinks wise, because like I may not look like it, but I go out a lot more than I probably appear. So I was thinking in my mind, man, we're about to drop like 20 something bucks on one drink because that's what I'm used to here. And that was not the case. I thought that the pricing wasn't that bad. So.
And me and Katie were like shitting ourselves. We're like, these drinks are so expensive. And you guys were like, no, they're not. And we were like, what?
Yeah. I mean.
Excuse me, what?
Literally, I think I had, just for example, there's a local bar in downtown. And I think for 2 drinks, it was like $30. So I was expecting to drop at least, something close to that. And fortunately, I did not, but the drink I did have was really good. I think I forgot what it was called. The Greatest Showman? Was that what it was?
Something like that.
It was something like that. I don't know. It was really good.
Yeah,
I think it was like $11 or $12.
Yeah, but the cool thing about Backwards is each drink that they make has its own cup.
Yeah.
So we all had different cups. Like, Sheena and Mads have the same cup because they have the same drink. But Katie got a different drink and I got a different drink, so we all had different cups.
Yeah, it was cool. Super cool.
Yeah, it's all like kind of circus freak show themed. The drinks are. The names of them.
Yeah. It was fun.
And then we went to the Office after that, which is a bar titled The Office.
Yeah.
And I made Mads and Sheena. I didn't make them, but I highly suggested you get a cotton candy martini because they're fun to watch them make them.
Yeah, it was good, but it was also very sweet at the same time. So I was like, oh shit.
It was because there's like pure cotton candy and alcohol.
Yeah, literally. So it was we had a good time, but by the end of it, I was like, okay, we have got to go to bed because at that point I think I had been up for like 22 23 hours maybe.
Yeah.
Because it actually kind of went against me in my favor because I woke up at 2 a.m. Mountain Time, 4:30 a.m. my time, so like 2:30 a.m. Mountain Time, 4:30 my time Eastern, and I was up until like 1 a.m. my time. I was up for a very long time, and I was starting to get to the point where I was like, if I don't go to sleep right now, I'm not going to be worth anything the next day. Because we had another early day planned. So,
because kayaking.
Yeah, so we went kayaking. We went to Walmart because our road trip had not officially started yet.
We had to get our meals.
We had to get our shit.
Because we lived out of a cooler.
Yeah, for the whole week. And
or 3 days in a row.
Yeah. We pretty much, it was just one of the, like, it was a more chill day, but it also there was a lot still happening. Yeah. And so we went to Mom and Dawn. So I finally met Mom and Dawn, and we had dinner, and they cooked Mom cooked us pad thai, and it was so good. And then we went home, went to bed because we woke up early again. Yes, this is a trend. We woke up early again. Worth it, though.
I was like, listen, bro, you guys are gonna fucking hate me because you're gonna see all the cool shit. But we'd be getting up before 7 like every fucking day, so.
Yeah, it was wild. So no sleep. It was like no sleep. Club. Another club. No sleep. So it was just like, we were just like going. So Monday morning is when we officially started our road trip to Yellowstone, the Grand Tetons, like everything was kicking off. And I feel like we got there hella fucking fast. I don't know why, but it felt like we did. And you guys, I saw snow. And a lot of it.
There was quite a bit of snow still up there. So mind you, not for Mads, for the listeners, the week prior, literally a week before Mads and Sheena showed up to go on their Yellowstone road trip, Yellowstone got 3 feet of snow.
Yeah.
3 feet of snow at the end of May. So it was like May 23rd or something like that when they got 3 feet of snow.
Yeah, it was, and there was so much of it still left. I mean, in the Tetons as well. And it was so fucking cold for me. It was cold for me.
Actually, it was pretty fucking cold up there. Like, it was, so when we left Casper, it was probably warmer in Casper when we left at 7:30 in the morning than it was when we got to the Tetons, or I should say Teton National Park, because it was like 40 degrees that day.
Yeah,
up in that area.
Oh yeah,
and it was like when we left Casper, the sun was bright and shiny, and it was pretty warm outside.
Yeah,
I never checked how warm it was, but it was very comfortable outside when we left town.
Yeah. So it wasn't terrible, but once we got to the Tetons, I was like, holy shit, it's cold. So we all put our
boys.
Yeah. So we all put our sweatshirts on, and DuBois was an experience.
I was gonna say, I think we should talk about DuBois for a minute too.
So you guys,
DuBois. It's pronounced DuBois, by the way. It's spelled Dubois. And so it was funny when we were at Mom's house for dinner the night before. She was like, "You guys are gonna go to Dubois, Wyoming." And I was like, "That's DuBois." So we kept calling it Dubois because we were messing with them. Obviously, we're like, "Look, it's Dubois. We're almost to Dubois." So when we get to DuBois, we stopped at the one and only Jackalope Travel Center. DuBois, Wyoming.
It was pretty fucking wild. We saw a real life gigantic ass motherfucking jackalope.
I wrote it.
Bergie legitimately wrote it, and that's going to be in our vlog. So she wrote it. I met Sasquatch.
Yeah. Like 4 of them.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah.
And the bathroom was interesting. We had got free condoms. That was fun.
Yep.
They were flavored.
One of them was. The Sheena took anyways. There was a banana one, and then once you get the extra large.
Yeah, it was like super massive.
And then so we're walking around It was a super eclectic type of gas station. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
So we walk around. The one side is all Jackalope merch and Wyoming merch. And then there's the bathroom, and then they have fudge, like homemade fudge. And then it was like really convenience store, but like 1980s convenience store.
Yes.
And then you go through the little maze, and then there's more Jackalope and Sasquatch stuff, which is where the huge Jackalope was that I rode. And then I decided to get gas station coffee because tired AF hadn't had coffee yet. And some alarms were going off outside, which sounded like tornado sirens, but the lady at the cash register was like, "Go get them, boys." So I was like, I don't know if that's just how their police siren sounds. I don't know. It sounded like a tornado siren to me. But I look at Mads and Sheena and I goes, that's a word. Those are words. I look at Mads and Sheena and I was like, it's a Sasquatch alarm.
And I was like, what the fuck, dude?
You're like, wait, for real? And I was like, yes. Yes. And then the cashier, I was like, did you hear me? She's like, what? I was like, my friends over there, they're from the East Coast. I told them it's the Sasquatch alarm. She's like, did they believe you? I was like, probably not. And then she said something. She said something to you guys. I can't remember what it was.
I don't even fucking remember.
I think she was like, did you really think that was a Sasquatch alarm?
Yes, yeah. She said, did you really think it? And I was like, no. Not at all. Not at all. Funny. But it was, that place was an experience for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. And then we chased down Bigfoot for a second before we left.
Yeah, for like half a second we saw him and I was like, damn, like how did he get all the way out here?
Yeah.
Last time I checked, he was still at my house, but to each his own.
It took me a second. I was like, what? And I was like, oh yeah.
It's like, oh yeah. So let me just say we went through the Tetons. However, it was very cloudy, very rainy, and we could not see the peaks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure about half of the mountain was covered.
Yeah.
And the clouds were low, like low.
And at first we didn't see any of the mountain. That's how low they were.
Yeah, that's how foggy it was too.
Like the closer we got, the more I was like, yep, those are the mountains. And you were like, wow, they're really covered, man. And I was like, damn.
I was like low-key disappointed, to be honest with you. I was like, obviously we can't control that. Like, that's all on God. But I was like, oh, fake. It was like, kind of was the whole point for Mads.
Yeah.
Like, the whole grand, like, I wanted it to be like, and it was like, no.
No. Not at all.
Okay, well.
But it ended up working out and I got my moment later. I still don't think I saw the peaks, but it's fine because what I saw I was content with. So Bergie was like, do y'all just want to go to Jackson? And I was like, sure. We got to Jackson and I was
full disclosure. Full disclosure. People in Wyoming, like real true Wyoming Knights, do not claim Jackson. We don't claim Jackson as part of our state, okay? Just gonna throw that out there before Mads tells you our opinion of it. So this is not gonna hurt my feels at all, Mads' opinion of Jackson, Wyoming.
Jackson, Wyoming is somewhere that you can entirely skip on your Wyoming vacation. I
agree.
If you do not like touristy places, or people, or just small cramped towns in general, don't go to Jackson, Wyoming, because I can almost promise you will be disappointed. And it's nothing like, I'm glad I went. I'm glad I can say I've been to Jackson, Wyoming. It's fine. It's fun. Whatever. Well, it wasn't fun, but it's just what it was. And when we got out, it was still raining and we started to walk into all the stores and, we went to the candy store, which spoiler alert, that's all we could fucking afford. Had a great time
Jackson
in there.
For you.
Had a great time in there. And then we started walking and then we went to this leather store, which, it's fun. I'm from, I'm not from the Appalachian Mountains, but I am from the area where it's accessible to me. I've been to the Smoky Mountains. We sell leather here, good quality leather. And I was thinking in my mind, oh man, this is probably like $500-$600, maybe $7. Motherfuckers, let me tell you this story. Sheena she looks at a jacket. She doesn't pick it up. Let me just say that.
It was on clearance.
She lifts it off the rack and she's like, "Oh, clearance." She looks at it and it's still $2,000.
Clearance.
On clearance. And suddenly we were getting bombarded by the salesman and I was like, "Dude, do you think that we're just like, oh, I get it. No, I get it. Yeah, you think that we're like thieves or something." We
were all wearing, all three of us were wearing Project Fear sweaters.
We were, because it was the only thing I brought, like,
keep you warm.
Sweatshirt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking hell. Like, I don't think I've ever been profiled like that in my life. But if I was like, I don't like this. And it's not that he wasn't nice or anything, but it was like, I just felt, targeted. So I was like, let's get out of here. Let's move along. So then we started going to art galleries. Art galleries are fun. I love them. However, don't look at the prices because they are not affordable, obviously. But it was nice. It was really cool to see. But after that, I was like, let's blow this popsicle stand. Let's go back through and see if the clouds have, lifted. Hopefully they have. And they still had not, but we could start to see the bottom of the mountain of the Tetons.
We went and stopped at Moose Visitor Center, and we sat in that parking lot and ate our lunch, because that's when we were like, let's give it like 30-40 minutes to see if the clouds dissipate, because we kept checking radar and the rain at least was supposed to stop. And then we sang Show Yourself from Frozen 2 to the Tetons. They still didn't show themselves, so that's nice. But we tried.
So then we were just like, okay, like, this is cool. We took some pictures. It was very windy. It was very cold. And we just started heading to our cabin in Yellowstone.
So Teton National Park and Yellowstone National Park are like basically connected. And we were only like 20, maybe 30 miles from our cabin. But you can only go like 35, 45 miles per hour in the parks. So I was like, it's still going to take us like an hour and a half to get there, guys. We should probably go. So yeah.
Yeah.
We drove through Teton National Park because the cabin is actually in Teton National Park, 5 miles south of the south entrance of Yellowstone.
Yeah. So we got there and the cabin was a lot bigger than I thought it would be. It was literally just like a camper cabin. It's just 4 walls, a bunk bed and a table. And then they have like an outside table, a little campfire area, and there's no electricity. There's no running water, no bathrooms. You have to walk to everything. That was the only shitty part was all of us get up in the middle of the night peers. So we got to our cabin, unloaded everything. Bergie immediately starts to, do a fire. Eventually we got the fire started. Well, Bergie got the fire started, should I say. I don't know anything. I was just there for the ride, essentially. I have never been camping in my life, and that's the closest I've ever been, and I think I've decided I don't like it. So it's not that it's bad.
You want to know something, Mads? Okay, so I do this shit all the time, right? But I never do this shit, okay? I never drive that whole thing. I never start the fires. This was the first time that I was fully responsible for everything that was happening.
Yeah,
I don't start fires ever. I've never started a campfire. So I think, like, not to toot my own horn, but I did pretty well.
Yeah, I'd say. Because I was just like, I don't know. I was just standing there like, I mean, like, maybe if you do this, it'll, catch.
That was the one thing, though, is like, we got out of town. We were probably like maybe an hour outside of Casper, and I was like, frick! And Mads was like, what? I was like, oh, we forgot to buy firewood.
Yep.
But the lodge had it. The lodge at the campground had firewood, and it wasn't as expensive as I thought it was going to be, so that was fine.
Yeah, thank God. So that was good. It was, yeah. I like I said, it wasn't bad. I'm just very much my mother's daughter, and I like hotels, which is not a bad thing. And I like that I was able to have this experience, and it also saved us a lot of money. So I'm not really complaining, but I'm just saying for my future life, I definitely like having showers that are not communal, and I like not having to cook on a campfire. Okay, thank you. That's my story.
At least they weren't quarter showers like we anticipated.
Yeah, at least it wasn't that. The
They were
showers,
free.
they actually weren't that bad. Like, I'm not being
They're
like
small.
I always got the one. I got the handicapped one because it was the only one that was open both days. And
No, you could have used mine. You could have traded me.
yeah, but then you fucking. I don't even remember what had happened. I don't know if I think you were ahead of me and you just went wherever. But it was also like 6:30, 7:30 in the morning, and so I have no recollection of anything. But anyway, so long story short, we end up going night. Finally, like it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and it actually was really cozy in the cabin. I can't lie to you. The weather was nice enough to where it wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold, and the only downfall was waking up in the middle of the night and having to go pee. And so we all made a pact, of course, because we're in the middle of a national park. There's wildlife. And so
you mean like bears?
Like bears. I mean, that happens in any, like, if you go camping in the woods, like, you're always going to have a chance of wildlife. Maybe not always bears, but, there's other scary things too. But we obviously were like, okay, nobody is going to go by themselves, especially the first night at least.
Safety reasons.
Safety reasons. So everybody collectively woke up at the same time. I don't know what miracle happened, but we all had to go pee. And so I did not know where my glasses were. I wear contacts, and when I don't wear my contacts, I'm wearing my glasses. And I didn't know where my glasses were. I honestly was too smooth-brained to think, before I take my contacts out, let me find my glasses. So I was going literally like half blind when we got up in the middle of the night.
Don't worry, I went blind too. I did not put my glasses on either. I was just like, fuck it.
But you know what you did that I didn't?
What?
Or that I did? Okay, you know what? Okay. I can't even phrase it right. So Bergie's first, Sheena's in the middle, and I'm behind. And I had my light on, man. I stepped in a puddle. And I was like, oh, fuck. And Sheena goes, Madeline, that's why you're supposed to put it on the ground. I was like, it is. I just can't see. I was so upset, and it ended up drying pretty quick, and I was just like, fuck it by the time we got back. Mm-hmm. But that was our first night in the cabin.
So Yellowstone, we went to Yellowstone the next day.
Yeah, and
what is that? Yeah, and
this was the day.
Don't sound so enthused, man.
This was the day of many traumas for me, and it was wonderful. Like the views, immaculate. The smells, less than immaculate, but still cool.
I was like, what smells? And then I was like, oh, sulfur.
Yeah, don't fucking don't play that game, because it smelled like fucking ass the entire time. But it's fine because it's cool.
It's like sulfur.
It's life,
I always am just like, why does it smell like eggs?
Yeah, it smelled like eggs. We went up to Mammoth Hot Springs, which is a good trek from where we were.
Yeah, that's why I had to make your asses get up early.
We were almost in Montana. Like, that's
I did
how
tell
far
y'all.
It was.
I was like, you can sleep in the car if you want to, but we have to get up early to get all the way up to Mammoth, because we were 5 miles south at the south entrance, and we had to go all the way up to almost the north entrance. And again, it's not like mileage-wise like 30, 40 miles. However, you can only go so fast in the fucking park, so it takes a lot of time.
It took a lot of time. We went up to the hot springs. We had to hike, which is, it wasn't that bad. That one wasn't that bad.
That one wasn't that bad because there was a boardwalk and stairs the whole time.
Yeah.
It's not actual hiking.
Yeah.
It's a trek, don't get me wrong. It's a lot of, like, you start real low and you get real high, but they have, like, planned it out for you. It's like, here's a boardwalk you stay on. Here's a bunch of stairs for you.
I was struggling. I had to stop every couple of steps because, like, guys, like, again, this elevation thing, it can wind literally anybody, and that's not used to it. And even Bergie was kind of winded, I'm not gonna lie. But
I admitted it too. I was like, I'm having issues breathing.
Yeah. So it got to a point where I was like,
steep.
It is very steep. By the time we got to the top salt we needed to see, I was like, okay. Whew, like, yeah, I was feeling pretty good afterwards because I was like, damn, like that was, the workout of the century. Mm-hmm. And then Bergie was like, you know what? Like, let's eat our lunch and, do our little thing and we'll start going back down and start heading back towards the cabin. But there's other things we need to see. And I was like, hell yeah. Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone is one of my biggest bucket lists that I have wanted to see. So we started heading towards that way. This is where I almost died. we laugh now.
Trauma happened for Madeline.
We laugh now, but it was so traumatic in the moment for me.
It was pretty intense there for a hot minute. I'm not gonna lie.
I was so angry.
You were. I'm glad you're admitting it because I wasn't gonna say it.
Well,
I wasn't gonna out you like that, but you were very upset. And I get it.
But what's funny?
I get it. I understood. I was just like letting you do your thing because I was like, it's not really anybody's like fault, perhaps.
No.
And you're just mad at the situation, which is totally fine, and you're allowed to have those feelings. And I was just like, poor Mads. The only problem is you have to keep going because there's no other option.
I was mad at myself.
I know you were because you kept saying that. You were like, I am so fucking pissed at myself. I was like,
So what happened? Okay, we pull up to the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. And let me just preface this by saying, if I knew then what I know now,
it never would have happened.
It never would have happened. And I'll tell you why. Listen, I'm a bitch. I'm all for scenery. I love scenery. But some things are just not worth it in the end. And so we were walking, and oh my gosh, like the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, guys, it's so fucking beautiful. Like
that waterfall.
So beautiful. And it's just wow. Like pictures can never do it justice. It's so big. That's what she said. Anyway.
I was gonna say I was just about to say that.
It's so big and long.
Pictures can't do it justice. It's so big and long. It's so beautiful.
It just can't. So we started, walking, and we got to this point where, we got a good view of the waterfall. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. From that first view, well, the second view, maybe it was the third of the waterfall, we were up high enough. I was content with that, man. I was hell yeah.
The first part where the parking lot we parked in, because in Yellowstone at these spots, there's not a lot of spots. So you see one, you take it, and you just deal with it. We had to hike over to the other parking lot. So like where we started was too close, and the angle was just too weird that you weren't really getting the full picture. So we did have to hike over to the other parking lot on the hiking trail. So that was an actual hike. There's not like a boardwalk and stairs. It's like you're actually hiking on a trail, which that one wasn't too terrible.
No, not at all.
And then you get to the overlook, which is way up high, but you can see the waterfall in its entirety, which was perfect for Mads.
I was content with what I was seeing. It was beautiful. And Bergie was like, well, there is this area. And I just remember looking all the way down. This area was so far to the ground, man.
In my defense, I said it's up to the two of you if you want to go down there. We don't have to, or we can. Either way. Yeah. I'm not making that call.
Right.
So, I had never been down there, Mads.
What? I thought you had.
No, I've never gone down that trail. Ever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway.
like had if I had gone down that trail, I would have known that you probably wouldn't have wanted to do it, and I would have just been like, we're not going down there, but I had never done it. So I was just like, up to you guys.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it or not?
Sheena looks over and she's like, I mean, I would like to. I mean, but I don't have to. Like, it was just how she said it. So I was like, but I was looking and I was like, I don't know, man. I really don't know. And then all of a sudden I just had this like thing in me where I was like, fuck it. I don't want to have any regret. So I just
say fuck it. Yep, I remember now.
I started walking down there and immediately I started thinking to myself, I'm going to fucking hate myself coming back up. But, you know, on the way down, it's never as bad. So I was just like, do. This is so funny.
I will say, at least in my opinion, though, going down seemed to take longer than getting up for some reason.
Well, that's a great perspective.
You're like, not for me, bitch. Not for
me. So we were going down and my knees were hurting because it's so steep.
So for listeners' purposes, there was a bunch of switchbacks. A bunch. And this thing was steep as shit. Like, what would you say, a 45% grade? It's like really bad.
It was intense, man.
It was like in every probably 20 feet, there's a switchback.
That was a trail that even very experienced in shape hikers will have issues struggling. Yeah. Because we saw people that were very much in shape and they were having to take breaks and they were sweating and, you know, breathing hard. And I'm like, okay, this is not good. But, you know, we're just going to keep going. And so we get to the view and I'm like, yeah, this is not okay. All right.
We get like halfway there and there's that guy standing on the side. And I'm sure he's probably one of the ones we were like, he looks like he could probably do this often. And I was like, is it worth it? And he was like, yeah. I was like, you hesitated, man. He's like, no, it's pure, it's pretty. I was like, okay, thanks.
And so like we get there and we see it, and I was in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, well, we'll see if it was actually worth it by the time I start doing this hike. And I have never considered killing myself that much until then. Like, I'm not even fucking around. Like, it's funny now, but in the moment I was like, if I throw myself off this cliff, my death would just be so quick and it would just all be over. Like,
I was like, Mads, do not eat yourself in Yellowstone.
Like, I was having to brake like every couple steps. Like, it was so steep.
I mean, we stopped at every switchback on the way up.
Yeah. And I literally could not help it. And my legs were starting to give out because we had already, mind you, hiked up the
Mammoth.
And so my legs were literally like shaking. And if it wasn't my chest that was trying to give out, like my heart and all that shit, it was my fucking legs. And so I was like, oh my God. Like, I literally was on the verge of just literally, I'm not even kidding. I was thinking, there was one point that I looked at them and I said, tell my mom I love her. Like, just tell her I love her and it's over. Like, I'm done.
Yeah. There was a point you were just like, I don't think I'm going back up, guys. I'm just going to stay here. I was like,
you were like, shut the fuck up, you exaggerating ass bitch. And I was just like, okay, man, well, I'll see you at the top. Just kidding, no. And I don't know, man. It was a lot. So eventually we got to where we were almost at the top, and I just started getting angry at myself because I'm like, just do this. Just do it. Just fucking do it. Just do it. And Sheena's like, it's almost done. And I was like, yeah, it is almost done. And then I'm gonna make sure that I finish this fucking strong. And I just started like going, and then my pride got I got too fucking prideful because by the time I like made it like 5 steps, I was like, God, I have to take a breather again. Damn it. I was like, fuck. Like, I wanted to keep going so bad, but my body was not letting me.
Your body's like, please stop immediately.
Yeah, so my body is the enemy. My brain is definitely the enemy, but needless to say, I finished it and we were silent for a while.
Well, I made the mistake of not peeing before we did any of that. So yeah.
She had to pee, so she
I
was
was
like
hurting.
running.
I was hurting pretty bad for a hot minute there. Because when we started going down, we made it like 3 switchbacks, and I was like, this is gonna be horrid for me because I already have to pee. Yeah, so all the way down, all the way up, and then all the way back to our parking lot. I thought my bladder was gonna explode, dude. I was like, shit.
I was.
But we survived.
It was a lot.
We came out the other side, and think of the happiness of it. You did something you thought you would never do, and you made it through it, and it's over now. So
it's true. It's over. It's been over. I just wake up sometimes in the middle of the night thinking I'm halfway up again, and I'm like, fuck, like
having nightmares about it.
It's the end.
Like, this is how I die, for real, for real.
For real, for real. I was just like, it is what it is. I've lived a long 26 years. And that's where I was, like, mentally. I'm not even fucking with you. I know it sounds like an exaggeration, but I don't fucking care. Like, literally, I thought life as I knew it was done. So yeah, it wasn't. And I'm still here. And I'm telling you guys this story. So I was just a dramatic bitch, but whatever. So
we drove through the Hayden Valley. We drove past the Yellowstone Lake, which was endless. Literally thought we would never see the end of that thing.
Yeah, that was the biggest fucking
lake. Fucking ocean. And then we went back down into Teton National Park a little bit because the sky was more clear. The top of the Tetons were still hidden by some clouds, but you saw like probably 90% of the mountain, 95% of it at that point. So you saw the majority of it.
I was content. That is what made my day. So real quick, the story of the Tetons for me is, I may have already said this on the podcast before, though I'm not 100%.
Told me that you have. So
okay. So I'll just keep it short and sweet. My papa, before he passed away, years before he passed away, him and my mama had traveled majority of the United States. I think that they hit like 40 something out of 50 total, and they loved Wyoming. They went twice, and they actually considered living there for quite a while. But then he got sick, and it just didn't happen. He saw the Tetons, of course, both times, and he said that they were the most beautiful mountains he had ever seen. And when he passed away, we made a point in having the Tetons etched on his tombstone because he genuinely loved them that much. He thought that they were that beautiful. I had always kept that in the back of my mind, so I knew that that was something I wanted to see. And so I got there, and I believe that the reason for me not seeing it the first time is so I could have the moment where we pulled off the side of the road. We're in the Teton National Park. There was hardly any traffic going, and it was right in front of the water. It was so still and perfect and quiet. You could hear the little ducks, doing their little honking, and I was just admiring it. And all of a sudden, like, I just had this overwhelming feeling, and I just started sobbing. And I was just like in awe. Like, I understood. Like, when someone's gone for that long, he passed away in 2013. When someone's gone for that long, it just kind of, it connects you to them in a way that you can no longer connect with them, if that makes sense. You're sharing something with someone who's no longer here. I started crying. I definitely felt as though I could feel his presence. And Bergie, all of a sudden, like, while that was going on, she looks over and she goes, "Mads, look." And there was literally like rays coming through the clouds. And I was like, that's exactly what I needed to see. Like, I'm seeing what I need to see. Mm-hmm. And it was the most peaceful moment. It was everything that I had hoped it would be. Even if I still didn't see the peaks, I saw what I needed to see, and it was just beautiful.
Crying made me cry that day.
Yeah. So I had my moment, and then we ended up going back to the campsite. Boogie started a fire a lot quicker.
Yeah, I got the campfire done in two tries.
Yeah. And because I cried, my contacts dried out. So in my dumb brain, I was like, I'm going to take my contacts out while Bergie's starting this fire. Guys, I promise you there's a reason for me saying this because the smoke followed me everywhere. I was crying more than I have ever done in my life.
You know what they say,
because-
though? Smoke follows beauty.
Well, okay. Let's talk about what happened the next day. So this smoke was irritating my eyes so bad because, like contacts kind of serve as a barrier, right? Like if you cut onions with glasses, you're going to tear up. If you have contacts in while you're cutting onions, you're fine. Like it serves as some sort of barrier for your eyeballs, right? So,
Wait, you're fine when you cut onions with contacts? I still have problems.
yeah, I'm perfectly fine.
Lucky.
And I was fine the night before with the smoke coming to my face the night before. It did not bother me. But when I had my glasses on with the campfire and the smoke was following me everywhere, I was tearing up, like literally ugly, just like while I was eating dinner, like tears were coming down my face and I was like blowing my nose. I mean, it was bad. And I didn't think anything of it really. I was just like, damn, it's irritating my eyes so bad. Damn. Well, we go to bed. Wake up the next morning, you guys. My eyeballs, my eyelids, and the under part of my lids were swollen so bad. And I looked at Bergie and Sheena and I was like, what am I supposed to do? I was like, it's our second day in Yellowstone and we're going to take pictures. What am I going to do? And they were like, oh my God. Like, I really didn't do all that. But I was like, oh my God, this is so bad. This is so bad. Prior to that, I had my glasses on, so Bergie and Sheena couldn't really see the extent of it. But when I took it off, Burgundy goes, I think... I think you should just dab some water on your eyes and maybe take a Benadryl.
I said when you're in the shower, run cold water on your face.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could give you a Benadryl. It'll probably make you sleepy. And I also have naproxen with me if you would like some.
But she was offering me all these things, and I was like, okay, well, I'm a big person where I don't like taking medicine unless I have to. So I was like, okay, let's try the water first, and we'll go from there. Eventually it goes down. Thank God. It went down almost entirely within 30 minutes of waking up. And, but it was kind of crazy. I've never seen my eyes like that before. And, like I literally must have, like I had an allergic reaction. So
the campfire smoke is what we're thinking.
Yeah. Well, it had to be that.
I gotta do a side tangent real quick because I just remembered this while you're talking about your papa and the Tetons. So, when we were kayaking today, we came up on some people who were in a tube, 2 ladies in a tube, and they asked if we could drag them to one side of the river, because you know how there was all those like little islands, so the river forked, it would go like left or right around the island, and you guys kept asking me which way to go and we'd have to pick one. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, so we were coming up on one of those and they asked us if we could like tow them to one side or whatever, because they got stuck on one last time they did that. Like they popped their tube because they hit the end of it and they got stuck and they had to call 911. And anyways, I digress. So my mom went to help them and she was trying to pull them around this island, but they got stuck in the current and they hit the edge of the island. And then so Wendith ended up in the trees, you know, those trees that were like hanging over like into the water. She got stuck in those, and then the tube ladies got around the other side though, and they were like, oh my gosh, sorry. And so I turned around and I was like paddling upstream to try to catch up with her, go help her get out of the trees and stuff, but she just like paddled herself under the trees around the other side of this island. So I was going to the left side and she was going to the right side, and I was like, well shit, I guess I'll just see her on the other edge of it. So I turn around. And so you know how I told you that my grandma comes to me in the form of a yellow butterfly?
Yeah.
Are you eating something right now?
I have to go mute because of Duchess.
It sounds like you're eating something though.
I am.
Okay, when you come back. So as I was turning around, I like fully turned around because I was like, I still had my head turned to the left. And so I turn around and right in front of my face, like it actually scared me. There's the biggest yellow butterfly I've ever seen in my life. Like it's the size of my fucking hand, dude. And it was literally like a foot from my face. And I was like, and it scared me, and I was like, oh, hi, and it like went up a few inches and then came back down, and it was like face level with me, and it sat there like fluttering in the air in front of my face for like 5 seconds, and I was like, it was just like looking at me, like this yellow butterfly was just looking at me, and I was like, hi, love you, go find my mom, and it just took off over the top of the island.
That's crazy.
Isn't that weird? Okay, anyways, so
Yeah,
back to your swollen eyeballs. I was like, oh wait, I have to tell Matt. 'Cause I'm pretty sure that was my grandma.
Yeah, that's a good little story. So we haven't even gotten to the good part, so I don't even know how much more we want to say, except that Yellowstone Day 2, I'm not gonna get too into it.
We did Grand Prismatic.
Grand Prismatic, saw Old Faithful, saw Buffalo. They got really close and I ran away.
But all of this is in the vlog too. So.
Yeah, a lot of this is in the vlog, so that's why I'm like, okay, gotta speed it up.
Speed it up.
Saw geysers, saw lots of
the paint pods. Yeah,
saw paint pods. Cool. And then eventually, we saw grizzlies, we saw mountain goats, we saw
bison, elk.
Bison, elk.
We saw Belvis.
We saw Belvis. He's fucking hot.
Yeah, Belvis was like right before we went. There's this Facebook group called Yellowstone Invasion of the Idiots, and somebody posted this buffalo that had like crazy hairdo, and it kind of looked like Elvis. So I sent it to the girls, and I was like, "This is Belvis." I called him Belvis, Buffalo Elvis. I was like, "We should look for him while we're there," as a joke, right? Because there's like thousands of fucking buffalo in Yellowstone, and we're just driving by, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's Belvis!" And we actually found him, so that was kind of cool.
We actually found him. That was fucking lit.
We made up songs that Belvis would sing in Yellowstone. That was a fun time. We should have vlogged that. I don't know why we didn't vlog that.
No telling, man. There were so many good moments that I wish had made it into the vlog. We left. We started heading towards Cody.
Yes.
And Cody was very fun.
Cody, Wyoming is where... What?
Nothing. Keep going.
Why'd you start laughing like that?
I don't know. I really don't. I have no idea.
Okay.
Cody was, I don't know. Like, I like Cody. I could see myself going back to Cody.
Well, I mean, Doug and Cindy said you're always welcome. So, my aunt and uncle,
they were awesome. Shout out.
My aunt and uncle live in Cody, Wyoming, and so I was like, hey, my friends from the East Coast are coming. Can we stay at your guys' property for like 2 nights? Because I was trying to save us money, right? But obviously, they're family too, and so that's just what we do for each other. So they let us stay in their camper on their property, and we got to their house the first night, Wednesday night at like 8 p.m. They made us burgers, so we ate. And then they went to bed because, again, it's Wednesday. So, the normal world was still working in the work week. We're just living our best lives out here exploring the wilderness. And then Thursday was chock full of more shit. However, I did let the girls sleep in a little bit finally to Matt's enjoyment because we were in civilization. We were in town. Everything we were doing was in town. We didn't really have anywhere to go. So I was like, let's sleep until 9.
Oh, it was so nice. The Buffalo Bill Museum was awesome.
The Buffalo Bill Center of the West, which encompasses 5 different museums. And we saw
3.
I was going to say mostly. Like, we saw like 2 3/4 of 3 of the museums.
Yeah. So, I mean, everybody has said that it was big, but like, I was expecting it to be bigger. It was still very big. Don't get me wrong. It was still very, very big. But the way like Sierra had talked about it, because she's been out west, and like Bergie, I was like, oh man, this museum is probably going to be like, you have to spend like weeks here. A lot of it was guns, which, it's cool. The guns are cool.
The one museum
was guns.
It's just all guns. It's the what did they call it?
I forgot already.
The Guns and Arms Museum or something?
Pretty much every gun in fucking existence is there.
Ever. There was guns from like the 1600s there.
Yeah. Now that part was cool for me because that was my favorite part.
Yeah. There's a whole gun safety area, and then like you learn about gun safety, and we skipped a lot. That's why I said 2.5 museums, because it's all just, there's so many guns. It's very overwhelming. So we did not look at all of them, because some of them, quite frankly, look the same.
I was about to say, I honestly would never see all of it. So I've saw what I needed to see, and I was done. Like, I was like, okay, cool.
Well, did you go down in the gun library, because we went down there to use
there was another fucking library, dude. And I was
to
like,
use
what
the bathroom.
fuck?
And they're just all pull out. They're just little, it's like a whole room of just pull out cases, and each case has like 10 guns in it. And then there's drawers of guns and guns everywhere. And there's guns the size of your freaking pointer finger. And then there's guns like literally, there was one that was like 15 feet tall. So
yeah.
Anyways, lots of guns. And then we did the Native American Museum.
That was my favorite museum.
And then we did the Buffalo Bill Cody Museum, which Cody, Wyoming is named after Buffalo Bill Cody.
Yeah. So that part was cool. The Native American one, like I said, was my favorite. I don't know, man. Native American history just kind of hits different for me, and it's very special to me. And
it's very intriguing.
It was definitely interesting to read about tribes that were not like Cherokee, which is the big one here where I'm from. And I have a Cherokee ancestry. So it's, I don't know, the Native American history as a whole, more than just Cherokee. It's just very fascinating. And there's a lot that people should educate themselves on. Anyway, so aside from that, it was my favorite. And after the museum, we went to downtown.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. We went to the gift shops first.
We went to the gift shops. It was cool. We saw the Irma Hotel. It was Buffalo Bill's hotel
that he built.
And then we saw Old Cody, which that was very strange.
The Old Trailtown Museum.
Yeah, it was weird. I know why they did it, but just to kind of sum it up a little bit, none of those buildings are original to Cody, Wyoming. They actually imported them from different parts of not just the state, but other states as well, mostly Montana and Wyoming. But
the region.
For me, it was a little odd.
So they brought all these old buildings from like the 1800s and put them on the location of the original town site of Cody, Wyoming, that Buffalo Bill had laid out.
Yeah. And then
create the old town, basically.
They also had graves as well, where they had moved bodies and reinterred them, which was weird. One of them was not. It was actually the original plot. It was the female, wasn't it? What was her name?
Belle?
Yeah. Drury?
I think so. She was the one that was poisoned at the brothel.
Yeah. So basically, in a nutshell, as me being a historian, fortunately, I live on the East Coast, and obviously the East Coast history is very interesting, very rich. It goes back many centuries. So I have never seen anything like Western history before in real life, obviously. So it was just very interesting that pretty much what I'm trying to get at is that majority of what I have seen in my life, history-wise, like buildings, they've never moved from their original spot. And I think that, to me, it's more, it adds more realism, and it kind of gives you a more real perspective of like what was there, what people saw. Like, you're touching the same walls in the same spot, and you can see the same views and all that kind of stuff. So it was just a little weird to me. That's all I'm going to say. It's not that it wasn't cool. It was just a little different, and it was, to an extent, kind of unsettling. And I don't know why, but I was just a little unsettled. But I was like, okay, cool. It's cool that it was in the same area as the original Cody. So that part was cool. Anyway, long story short, we went to the Cody Rodeo, and we're not going to get too into that, but we went to a bar, we met some cowboys, and yeehaw. We're just going to keep it at that.
Cody, Wyoming is the only place in the whole world that does a rodeo every single night from June to August. June through August, I should say. So that's kind of interesting. It was fun. I think I'm in my cowboy era now, but Matt knows why, because there was a cowboy at the bar and I approached him twice and I was stone cold sober, so
yeah, dude.
you can catch all that on the vlog whenever we decide to post it, though.
Yeah, we met some cowboys and we saw some and it was fun. Anyway, so then ending our trip, we went to Thermopolis. We sat in the hot springs. It was so nice. It was exactly what I needed after a whole week of hiking and dying and seeing cowboys, and yeehaw. So the night at Bergie's house again. It's Saturday. We were supposed to board a flight. We went to the airport, went through TSA, checked our bags, did the normal stuff, started boarding the plane. The pilot goes, "Sorry, Denver," which is, we have a connecting flight from Casper to Denver and then from Denver to Charlotte and Pittsburgh. The pilot said as soon as we were boarding that Denver was having a ground stop due to very bad weather. So I was like, fuck, that sucks, because we had a connecting flight. But it was still a couple hours out, right? So we were like, an hour won't matter. An hour turned into 2, and then it turned into 3. Then it turned into, okay, it's time to board the plane. So we got on the plane, and then all of a sudden they told us it was going to be another 30 minutes. And then me and Sheena both looked at each other and we're like, we're not going to make our connecting flight, because the longer we sit here, the higher chance that we're going to be stuck in Denver overnight. So we ended up having to deep board the plane, which was not fun. And we had to get our bags, which was also not fun. Then we had to reschedule our flight to Sunday morning at 4 a.m., which was also not fun. And we spent another night with Bergie. And then eventually we finally got home on Sunday. So that was fun, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
So Saturday was not magical. It was actually very much less than.
Well, Saturday morning we didn't do anything. We just watched TV.
Yeah, we just chilled.
Saturday afternoon, however, turned into quite the adventure.
Yeah, I was not very happy about it because I just wanted to come home. Like, you already have it in your mind. You're like, are ready to just get it done and over with. And obviously, like, flying home across the country is a full day thing. Who would have thought? So,
bro, I told you every time, man.
Literally.
I'm like,
literally. And I was just ready to go. So Sunday came around and I literally just came home on Sunday. I got home at like 3:00 Eastern and I was like, damn, the day's gone. So I went to my mom's house at 8, came home, and I slept for over 12 hours just so I could go to work on Monday and be like, what's up, everybody? I haven't even been home for a full day yet. What's going on? And this weekend I've been playing catch up on sleep because it was just plane, club, another club, another club. And all the clubs ended up being my fucking job every day.
right.
So that was stressful. But I'm glad Bergie let us stay at her house.
Well, of course.
Well, I mean, you could have said, nah, bitch, you can just sleep outside.
Why would I say that?
No, you wouldn't. But, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was our Wyoming trip. It was very long and fun. And I kind of want to go back to Cody, Wyoming now. Lip bite, tuck the hair behind the ear.
Oh my god.
You know, what's going on?
Here's the problem is all the cowboys are fucking babies, bro.
They are all very young, and I have never felt like a cougar until this time.
You know, trip. I considered it for a hot second, though. I was like, I could be a cougar for a minute.
Yeah, we did for a long time that night. When I got fucked up, too. Really bad. Yeah. And, when we were talking to the cowboys, I didn't say anything. I just smiled because I didn't want to embarrass anybody or myself, which may have made it worse. I don't know. So it was fun. We had a great time. It was a great trip. Sponsored by Bergie. Planned. She was our chauffeur. All of that. It was done by her, and I am forever grateful for it because it was a very fun trip.
Chauffeur, chef. Tour guide.
Fire starter.
If you ever need anybody to show you the northwestern corner of Wyoming,
literally,
I can provide references.
she can. And literally, it was so funny because like after everything was done, like Bergie had chauffeured, she did all this stuff, she planned this trip, and she looked at me and she's like, you're kind of my boyfriend. And I was like, yeah, you're kind of my boyfriend. Like, actually, dude.
Like,
and she's like, we just don't do the physical stuff. And it's like, yeah, like literally we cuddle. We just don't do any of the other stuff.
We're literally basically dating. We just don't have the physical aspect of dating. So, yeah, because Friday night we came back to Mom's. We were like, Mom, we're invading your space, okay? And then she made us dinner again. And then we got a little bit tipsy doodle. Because Sheena went to dinner with one of her other friends in Casper. And, yeah.
It was so fun. We had the best time.
Yeah, it was fun because it was like, for me, not that it was bad because I signed up to do this. I wanted to do this. This was my whole idea in the first place. But for me, I was finally able to not have responsibility as far as the trip goes. I was like, I don't have to do anything now other than get you guys to the airport the next day and apparently pick you up again from the airport. So I was like, Mads, let's twink.
It was so nice to just, kick back and get fucked up again. So
yeah,
it was fun. It was a great time. But I was ready to be home, which Bergie is probably like, okay, can you stop saying that? Because I've said it multiple times. I'm like, I was so glad because it's like, you go without being in your own bed. You miss your animals. You miss your family. It's like a whole thing. And like
showering in your own
showering. Like, okay, that was the hardest part for me. I shower like a fucking psycho. I do it multiple times a day. And the fact I could only do it once was breaking my heart.
That's why I bought you those wipes.
I know those were lifesavers.
It's not the same, but maybe it'll help you feel better.
It was lifesavers. I will admit, but
They're
it was
like tea tree body wipes or something like that.
Yeah, but it was hard. It was rough out there for a couple days. And by the time I was able to take a good shower, I was like, fuck yeah. Like, yes. Hot water, shave my legs. Oh man, that was just talking dirty to me. That was sluttier than the fucking potato olays and nacho cheese. It was a good shower.
When we got to Doug and Sydney's and we showered in their shower, I was like, there's so much room for activities in the shower.
Literally! I was like, oh my god.
The little camper showers at the campground, they're just like really tiny little showers, right? Like there's just enough room for you to stand in and wash your hair. That's about it. So then you get in their whole full ass bathtub. I was like, dude, I could fit like 5 of me in this thing. Like, whoa, this is wild.
Literally, we could do so many activities in there.
You want to make our relationship physical?
What? I knew you were going to say that. I was about to say something like that, but I was like, no, I'm not going to.
I did it anyways. So anyways, yeah, happy season 4 to us. Happy 1 year to Fear Babes. Happy us for having you awesome listeners, whoever you are. Hope this episode was enjoyable for you. Even though
there was no Project Fear, there was no paranormal.
I mentioned that we were all wearing fear gear, so
yeah, we were wearing fear gear. We were wearing different colors, so technically,
we did. What was that Project Fear in Wyoming? Okay.
We did, and everybody thought we were a cult in Jackson. People kept staring at us.
We were like, why is everybody staring at us? And then we get to the campground and we're walking into the lodge and I catch a glimpse of the 3 of us walking together and I was like, that adds up. I would stare at us too. It's like
who are they?
I was like, we look like a little cult or something. It's weird. Yeah, so I'm sure you guys saw the pictures of it. If you haven't, go check it out. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of our socials. Speaking of our socials, you can find Fear Babes Podcast on social media, on Facebook at Fear Babes, on Instagram at Fear Babes, on Twitter at Fear Babes. Look us up on YouTube at Fear Babes. We also have an Etsy shop. Keep an eye on it because everything's changing. We also have Patreon, so
yeah.
$5 a month for our Patreon. We do an extra unedited, unhinged podcast every month just for Patreon listeners, for subscribers. We try to do daily content. We've really been sucking at it recently, and exclusive merch is also on the Patreon. I think that's about it for now.
I think that hits it. I think that hits all the right spots.
I wish somebody would hit my right spot.
That's what that cowboy said last weekend. Anyway, so
I'm going back to Cody. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
all right, bye, babes. We're gonna save a horse, ride a cowboy.
Stay tuned. This season's gonna be fun. So, mwah.
Ew, that was wet.